Well, sometimes we film these videos and then after I'm done, I make other decisions. So I want to share this with you guys before we get rolling on this video because I made some changes to it and it doesn't warrant making a whole new video because the process is basically the same. We're trying to get the same things done as what you're going to see in the video. So I'm going to show you the finished product now, and then you can watch me struggle and see the other route that we're going to take. But check this bad boy out. Ta-da! So this is what I want to focus on though, is I made my little pie cut stainless guy. I have room, it doesn't get into this, believe it or not, and then it goes up into there. So that essentially connects this, right? And let's roll around. We'll go in here, and we've got A to B. And then I did a little step down guy. We did some TIG practice. It goes from this size to that size down to the size that fits this. It's all snug in there, and I know hose clamps will grip and rip this, so we were gonna be rock and roll. So, sneak preview. Now you can watch me struggle. Game on. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We are out here once again with Eddie, with the Twinnebago, working on the cooling. So, I did some work off camera, right? I got a bunch of things done. I actually have the radiator in place. We were throwing Eddie treats so he shuts his pie hole. And I'm gonna show you guys how far we got and then what we're gonna work on today. So, you guys ready for this? Drum roll. Brrr, bing. Look at that freaking beautiful monster of a radiator. So, we had to bend these tabs over. We cut a bunch of stuff, had to grind it all down. I was laughing because I always say, like Apple does, that's why I can't have anything nice. So a brand new nice radiator, and I'm out here with the grinder and cutting, and I put a post up on Instagram that said, if you don't have to use a hammer to install your radiator, are you even doing it right? So I was referring to hammering these over, so we had to hammer and dolly and straighten these out. They used to be flat. So this is the pad. Those are the old pads I used to sit on. This is a cross member for the radiator. So we had to move those over because the return on the other side, the little neck that goes out, is supposed to connect to dude that's hanging down here, and then the fill is up there. So I had to scoot that over, and then because this one scooted over, I figured we'd try to space them apart, right? I can't go this way because that neck is over here, and then we had this pad here, and height-wise didn't really work. So easiest thing is to just put one here, one there. That captures the bottom. We drill holes here, so this is actually in place. And then this, I just left it basically where it was, so I didn't have to mess with lines, right? So these lines are good. This is all happy, happy, happy. And then we have a bunch of new fresh air that this thing's gonna see. The old radiator, like I said, used to be like right here. This was at the top of it. So I mean, we are just awesome. So let me grab the keys. We'll go inside and take the doghouse off, and I'll show you how everything on the inside fits, which is also phenomenal, man. The thing builds itself. We keep this locked. My wife is always afraid that homeless people are gonna take up shop in here. I guess stranger things have happened, right? So let's pull this cover off. So, ta-da, look at that. Look at that beauty. And then I just threw this in here to make sure we can get a 3-inch pipe past it. It's very tight. But yeah, and then this guy, you know, I'll trim it down a bit, but I mean, it fits. So look at our water pump. I was worried about it getting into that, like on the other radiator I was touching it because of placement. I mean, this thing is well above it. I mean, we could actually come back with this, which is insane. So, like I said, it is all in there, and it is happy, happy. So today's adventure is the plumbing, right? We've got wiring to do as well, but we're gonna focus on plumbing this today. We'll see how we go. This radiator has a larger outlet. He's so mad. He's so mad over there. He thinks I'm gonna drive this without him. So this has a larger outlet, And then on a LS, it's crazy. This is 1.25 inches, and then that one, this guy down here is only 1.5 inches, right? On this radiator, this is 1.75 inches, and the dude down there is 2, right? So on the other radiator I had, I know this is hard to keep up with, it was 1 step down from that. So the main outlet on the bottom was 1.75 inches, and the one on the top was 1.5 inches. Well, I had to step those down in order to make it to the motor, right? So I have the pipes like right here. So this one, I just used a hose and we stepped it from this, and then I have a little piece in here, and then it steps it all the way down, right? So you can see this is the larger one that stepped down, so this used to go, but it doesn't fit now. And that's the itty bitty guy that plugged into there. And then you can see how much, obviously how much taller, you know, this thing used to sit there. That's how much taller that radiator is. So we have to modify this. This is looking pretty spicy right here too, by the way. And then we have to do the one on the bottom, which goes across. So that one, lengthwise, everything's good, but it just needs to kind of mate up. And then this one, we need to gain some height width and figure the party out. So let's go show you what we picked up at the auto parts store. I'm very excited about it because it's almost an off-the-shelf hose. Let's throw Eddie another snack. You ready for another snack? He's already drooling because he knows Dad's filming. So he's in his... Here, we'll break this one up. Anyways, I picked these up and I went in there with the tape measure. The guys at AutoZone were nice enough to let me behind the counter. I go in there all the time. The guy's like, here's a tape measure, go get your donkey weird parts. So I was looking for a 2-inch and an inch, I'm sorry, a 2-inch and then 1.75 inches. I measured both of these. I had 2 of these that I had grabbed. This ended up being the cheaper one because I figured I was going to cut it up. Well, it turns out this is crazy. Well, to me it is, it's fun. The Twinnebago builds itself. So I bought this. This is the part number, right? It's a 90, which I was looking for. Plug into the radiator, it needs to point down to go to the water pump. Well, that's not 1.75 inches. That's not. This is 1.5 inches. Whoop, look at that. So the thing that makes that crazy to me is this already does essentially what we needed it to do. It comes out at a larger size and necks down to essentially, I mean, we're gonna have to change this one out because that's not quite as friendly. I guess I could clamp it like I did with that one, but it basically necks down, and I think that's rad. And then this one ended up doing the same. So that's the 2 and 90's out, and then look, it goes down to 1.5 inches. So this would almost plug into what we have there. So the thing is building itself. So I'm pretty excited about it. Let's get on it. We'll pull those other hoses and lines out and we'll see what we need to do to get things rolling. And then let me pacify Eddie so he doesn't complain the whole video. You're not supposed to complain. You're not supposed to complain. Easy. Give me that, baby. Give me that toy. Give me that toy. Drop it. Because it's not my first rodeo, I have a box of stuff because LS pumps are all the same size. So from different projects, different things that I've worked on, I have a lot of the silicone and all this stuff in the normal sizes for the pump, inlet and outlet. Actually, the other way, outlet, inlet. Anyways, we got a little 90 guy here. These are the 2 parts that we bought to adapt to our radiator. So I think first order of business is, let's do the top one because it's easiest. So we will go just push this in place. We don't need to clamp nothing down right now. And kind of point it at where we need to go. And then I'll take some of this fun stuff to put on the pump. And then we'll see what kind of straight shot we need. And then I have stainless and I don't have any bends. So if we have to bend some stuff, we're gonna have to get some TIG practice in, which I'm kind of looking forward to. So we have all the different sizes here. I think you get one in there. Yeah, so all the different sizes, and we'll, if we have to make some pie cuts or whatever, make life a little more difficult, but we'll get TIG practice in and we'll see how we go. So let's go slam some stuff together. I'll show you kind of what we need to connect on the top version. We'll get that done, and then we'll move on to the bottom of the radiator. All right, here's our 21909. We're just gonna slide this into place. because it should fit like a glove. Look at that. Oh my lordy. Builds itself. Then we just clock her, give a little click clock, point it towards the destination. And then now I brought a range of junk. So if we do that, dude, obviously it's not good, but I got this little sneaky. So this guy might be able to, no, the bend is kind of, so that's what I meant by it being wonky. So this one comes down, you know, obviously we're doing that. We'll have to find an angle where we can, so if it came down, but then this guy's kind of, And I've seen guys where they pull this out, or they weld a snout, or they do different stuff. And technically, I believe they make a water pump that comes straight up, which would probably be beneficial, but I want to keep standard stock stuff in here. If you're wondering why I don't just mod this, because if this water pump goes out somewhere, I want to be able to just buy one and bolt it in and keep rolling, because I'm not going to have a welder and all kinds of fancy stuff in the field per se if I'm on the side of the road somewhere in a Walmart parking lot. So let me figure out the angle of the dangle, but essentially what I like to do is you put a guy on here, you put a guy on there, and then you figure out the in-between, and that's really all there is to it. And then we're going to do that for the bottom as well. This one I believe is a little more tricky, because that one, I'll show you when we get underneath. I mean, we might just be able to kind of plug that one in, which would be hilarious. So I think this is our only culprit that we have to kind of finagle. So I'll show you what we're going to do in a minute. Well, I think we may have figured out an even easier solution. Remember I had all that stuff new in the bag? I went and I saw this one, and I was like, huh, you know, so I put it on here, and I'm like, that's kind of too long, and then it plugs into here. And then because of the size of it, basically this would be able to clamp to this. So all we have to do is give that hose structure, right? So when you put the clamp around it, it doesn't compress, which is pretty simple because I have some stainless. We can just wedge a good piece of stainless in there, and then we got a clamping edge. So if this is obviously has stainless in it, we can just clamp right around the edge of this. So I think that'll work. I mean, this clamp to that, I think it'd be fine. And then clamp to there, and then this has to come up a little bit to give us some room, because this isn't in there very far right now. It's only in there like 1/4 of an inch or so. Yeah. And then this is way on there, so we can move this up a bit so it grabs. And I think it'll just, yeah, see? And like I said, this will have some stainless in it. We can even do the edge of it. I think it'd be fine. So I guess maybe on the bottom part we can play with some TIG welding, because at this point I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, and I think that looks clean. And if we had the stainless, right, you'd have a clamp here, a clamp here, a clamp here on this guy, and then a clamp there. So this actually eliminates one section, because you go 1, 2, 3. So less chances to leak. Super simple solution, and that's what I like. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what I'm talking about. So let's jam a piece of stainless in there, kind of mock the thing up, and if that's good, we'll jump on the bottom. But I think that's going to be our ticket. I have it. It's there. We'll rock and roll and get on the next thing. Let's crawl under here now and see. I should have everything we need to complete this. We're not going to get through it today, but I'll give you guys a look. So this is the old setup, and then it just needs to go into there. And this thing, I think this might even go down to the size we need. It might be a size too big. I think it's a size too big for this, so we might have to step this guy up into this size, which isn't too bad. But first things first, we got to get and pick our 90. So we're pretty tight here. Let me cut the 90 off of this. We'll come back and squeeze it on, and then see what we have to work with for this guy. We'll probably have to take it off there and then see what we need to do to get that to fit. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty darn close as is. All right, we cut it. It clears everything, so that's cool. But it starts tapering, so I don't know how close I can get it. And then this guy, even if I could get it, I don't think it's tight enough to clear this. So the other option, you know, we look good like that, kind of facing down, but then I have to get it under the pulley. So this is gonna have to either jig jog or do something. So let me think about what I've done with this, and then we'll go from there. So that already has a 90 that faces down, but this is gonna have to meet, and I don't have any bends, so I think we might be screwed. We might be making stainless pie cuts, and then this one is a smaller diameter than what this comes out here as well. So let me mess with it, and we'll bring you guys back when we have a decision. So we've come to a crossroad in this video, and I think this is where I'm going to end it. I found out that this piece would work on this piece, and this piece would go into the rubber 90 that's actually underneath there. And I got gung-ho, and I'm like, I'll just cut this and do this and slam it in there. But the more I look at it, the more I feel like we are here addressing this. I MIG welded this. This is all rusted. It's getting all in the, probably throughout the motor and the whole system and everything. And I didn't have the means to actually weld it up properly. And then I have this. This is all the material I have in this size. So a straight piece, you could just slide it in and clamp it down. But I don't have any bends, and I could take and pie cut this. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna end the video here. I'm gonna force myself to sit down and use my TIG. It'll take me way too long because I'm inexperienced at it, but that's how you learn. And believe me, I just want to band-aid this thing, because I could throw 2 extra hose clamps on here and be done and be like, yeah, we're heroes, move on to wiring and plumbing the intake. But I feel like we're here, so let's just do it. I'll make the time, we'll do it correctly, right? We'll get some seat time. I can cut these welds off, clean it up. Same thing with all these tacks, and then we're gonna take and I'm gonna pie cut this down, so if we ruin it, then I'll have to get more material, and at that point I can just get a bend and I don't have to be a hero, because they make bends like this, it's easy. But because I have this and I have a bit of time, I'm thinking essentially just how this elbow is here, we'll just pie cut this down, dot, 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 and then this will be an elbow. And then if we have a straight enough piece, then this, again, we'll just plug right in. So then this will all be one stainless piece with a pie cut elbow, and then it'll plug in to the piece that we already have underneath there, and that should be money. So like I said, we had enough to complete it, but I don't want to half-ass it. I want to just do my due diligence, because if I just put this scab stuff underneath here, the next time I'm going to be under it is probably on the side of the road somewhere, because one of those pieces of hose maybe failed. And then the more pieces, more connections you have, more failure points. And then also, those are all different size hoses that I'd have to go somewhere and try to find all the stuff. And I'm like, you know what, let's just do the least amount of connections as possible and save myself future headache. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Till next time, I'm out.